Deputy Thomas Broughan has question number 8.
Glascan. Well, as the Minister knows, it's well over 3 months since we had a threat to a serious loss of jobs at Cadbury Mondelez in Coolock. We had a meeting over in your department. An interagency group was supposed to be set up, led by Enterprise Ireland, and then I find from the workers last Friday in Liberty Hall that emails are not being responded to, no meetings have been held, and the whole momentum of this agency, or this interagency group, such as it is, seems to be to find alternative jobs rather than to actually save the jobs that are under pressure. And as you know, Minister, the workers have tried to come forward with credible and mutually beneficial alternatives to Mondelez Cadbury management, but they've had no assistance whatsoever from your department.
Thank you. Minister number 8.
Immediately after the announcement of the company by the company concerned, I established an interagency group to coordinate the response to the proposed job losses. The group, chaired by Enterprise Ireland, will seek to secure alternative employment for the area affected and ensure that departing workers have access to supports they need from state agencies for retraining, access to social welfare supports, access to advice on employment rights, access to advice and support for those workers who intend to start their own business. The group includes local enterprise offices, IDA Ireland, Solace, Education and Training Boards, Department of Social Protection, MABS, Northside Partnership and the Citizens Information Bureau. Enterprise Ireland has had meetings at all 3 of the sites affected by the proposed rationalisation. The interagency group made it clear that it stood ready to meet unions and staff representatives at any stage. This offer was deemed premature, while discussion between the company and the union was still at a preliminary stage. The group remains ready to meet employee representatives at their convenience. Enterprise Ireland has been in contact with the company on a continuous basis regarding assistance it could provide for the restructuring plan. I understand that management and employee representatives are now in discussions on a variety of issues. I understand also that the interagency group has been in direct contact with a representative of the workers and that a meeting is being arranged. I continue to monitor this situation very closely. The Labour Relations Commission stands ready to assist in relation to these negotiations. Enterprise Ireland has had meetings with the company's management on a weekly basis since the announcement of the proposed job losses. I have directed Enterprise Ireland and IDA Ireland to continue the drive to find alternative projects for the area affected.
Deputy Thomas Broughan.
Well, Minister, you still don't seem to get it. I mean, the key point is that our constituency, the workforce, wants the current jobs retained, and this proposed threat of loss of jobs to Poland needs a response. People have asked for assistance in terms of accounting, economic studies, in terms of supports that your department might be able to give to the workforce. You're clearly indicating that you won't do any of that. And that your whole role here is some method to seek alternative employment. And Minister, you know, it simply isn't a sufficient response. Obviously, the workforce, Cadbury Mondelez, as you know, is part of, as far as I understand, the joint 3G Capital Berkshire Hathaway group. It's been imposing very severe conditions, cutbacks on its plants in the United States. We have this transfer of production to Poland, where obviously workers will have much lower pay and conditions. We now have a process whereby workers are being hired on temporary contracts on totally different conditions than the existing workforce. So here we have a very important historic industrial workforce in your constituency, what used to be part of your constituency, always part of my constituency. And your response, Minister, has to be said, is incredibly lacklustre and lethargic.
Thank you. I'll come back to the Deputy Minister.
No, I completely deny that that's the case. Enterprise Ireland will support any restructuring plan that's agreed by the unions and the companies. Once they work out a plan, we stand ready to support it in many ways, developing lean processes, providing training, providing support with research and development. But obviously, a restructuring plan has to be negotiated between the company and the unions, and that has to be negotiated collectively. And the Labour Relations Commission stands ready to assist in that process. So that if there are issues, and there is a track record, if there are issues about access to accounting details, the Labour Relations Commission has a long record in helping the two parties to deal with those issues in an effective way. So the Labour Relations Commission stands ready to assist both the unions and the management of the company to hammering out a restructuring deal of that nature. And when that is done, Enterprise Ireland will stand ready to support with their suite of supports. And I would point out, Deputy, that in Bausch and Lomb we had the very same situation where there was a huge difficulty. There was very difficult changes had to be made. New investment was brought in by the company, as Cadbury's are now committing to here.
Thank you, Mr.
And out of that, we now, just 12 months on, had a recent announcement of expansion in employment. So, there is a track record of using the LRC, using the supports of the agencies to develop alternative plans, and that is available to both sides.
Thank you. Deputy Thomas Broughan.
But again, Minister, a long time has passed since the meeting we had over in your department. We've seen absolutely nothing happen. As I said, people have told me that their emails from SIPTU, from the workforce itself, haven't even been replied to. I got an email this morning, I got an email yesterday from you, I got an email this morning from one of your officials, Enterprise Ireland. I mean, this is, almost, it's foot dragging. It's not the kind of proactive approach I would have thought that you would have been, embarked on, particularly in relation to something that affects your own constituents. For example, nobody has a clue there's supposed to be 11.7 million reinvestment programme. We know nothing about that. We know nothing about that because you haven't simply been engaged, and Enterprise Ireland and the rest of the group hasn't been engaged. Can I just say finally, Minister, the clear message is people want to retain the jobs in this historic plant. In fact, it's always been a plant that was at the cutting edge of food production in this area. They want to retain the jobs. They don't want you coming along and talking about people becoming entrepreneurs and so on, which is for many people totally unrealistic. They want the jobs and they want you to save them. Thanks.
Minister, to conclude.
The position is, the company has committed very clearly, both to me and to the workforce, to make this investment, and that's in the context of the negotiations that are being underway. Now, those negotiations were delayed to some degree, as you know, for reasons that you know also. But those negotiations are now started, and we stand ready through the Labour Relations Commission to assist with the technical side of that. And the Labour Relations Commission has a long record in supporting workers and unions and management working through the restructuring that could be possible. So there is the services there, and the company is committed to the investment, and Enterprise Ireland is committed to work with the company through the suite of supports that they have. So the absolute support of the agency is there available, but this is a negotiation between workers and the company. They have to evolve a solution, and we will facilitate the emergence of that solution in every way that we can.
Thomas Pringle has the next question.